EBSCOR, the experimental program to stimulate competitive research, is a National Science Foundation grant program. The goal of EBSCOR is to strengthen science and engineering research and education throughout the United States, and to enable states like Wyoming to be nationally competitive in these areas. EBSCOR aims to improve scientific infrastructure in Wyoming and build science, technology, engineering, and math research capacity across the state. One way Wyoming EBSCOR helps strengthen science research and education is through student programs such as the Summer Research Apprentice Program, also known as SRAP. SRAP is an intensive 6-week paid research experience for high school sophomores, juniors, and seniors aiming to attend college. It offers students a hands-on research opportunity in science labs across the University of Wyoming campus. Students work one-on-one with a faculty mentor throughout their time in the program. SRAP not only provides students with a paid internship and real research experience, but also helps prepare them for college life.
Our next speaker, Ms. Jennifer Beiza from Denver, Colorado. She will be presenting the topic of positive psychological outcomes of aerobic exercise.
Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Beiza. I work with Benjamin Bukowski, Elizabeth Ferguson, and Sarah Crow in the Department of Psychology, and I study the positive psychological outcomes of aerobic exercise. Previous research has found a positive correlation between exercise and mental health, meaning that if exercise increases, mental health will improve. They have suggested that exercise decreases depressive symptoms, anxiety, and stress. Previous research has also found positive correlation between exercise and well-being. They have suggested that exercise improves mood state, so people would feel happier after exercising, social contact, self-esteem, and self-efficacy. The purpose of my study is to test whether aerobic exercise promotes well-being on a healthy population using a tripartite model and also physiological measures. So we tried to divide well-being into 3 sections in order to take a more precise estimate of the outcomes of exercise. So what is well-being? Well-being has been described as a condition or state that involves emotional and psychological health as well as social prosperity. Emotional well-being is basically personal happiness, and one of the ways that happiness has been defined in psychology is as the presence of positive affect and the absence of negative affect. Psychological well-being is the accomplishment of one's true abilities and potentials. As you can see, it involves personal growth, positive relations with others, purpose in life, self-acceptance, autonomy, and environmental mastery. Most of these are pretty self-explanatory. However, autonomy is the ability of someone to independently and voluntarily make decisions for themselves. Environmental mastery is the ability to manage opportunities that we face in order to manage and match our personal values and goals. Social well-being entails social challenges and interactions that impact a person's ability to function in a positive way. It involves social acceptance, social contribution, social actualization, social coherence, and social integration. Social acceptance is the way that someone is accepted into a social group. Social contribution is the way that someone contributes to their society. Social actualization is a person's view on their society in terms of its capabilities of actualizing its true potentials with the help of institutions and citizens. Social coherence is a person's insight of the equality of the social world, and it involves an interest in the nature of the world in which they live. Finally, social integration is someone's view on the relationship between them and the society, and healthy people feel that they play an important role in their society. So why did we pick aerobic exercise? There are 4 types of exercises, which are balance exercises, endurance, flexibility, and strength exercises. Aerobic exercise falls under the endurance exercise section, and it was specially designed to improve the heart. And we picked aerobic exercise because it has been proven that strength and flexibility exercises slightly increase anxiety, and balanced activities are not as rigorous as aerobic exercise because they only enhance the lower part of the body. Why is this study different? This study is different because it uses a tripartite model to define well-being. It uses a control group, which makes it easier to identify spontaneous changes between participants. It accurately monitors the rate, duration, and intensity at which each participant is exercising. It considers the healthy population as opposed to gathering participants from mental institutions. And participants are recruited from the community as opposed to college campuses. These are the materials that are necessary for this experiment. This is a bicycle ergometer, and it is designed to measure the physiological effects of exercises through the metabolic, muscular, and respiratory system. It is a useful tool to help us track the heart rate, pulse, and respiratory changes in the participants. This right here is a heart rate monitor. It consists of two parts, a transmitter that is shaped like a belt and is worn through the chest, a wristwatch, and the way it works is that the transmitter detects the electrical activity of the heart, which contains data on the heart rate, and it uses electromagnetic waves to send that to the wristwatch, which displays the heart rate. Brief mood introspection scale, life satisfaction questionnaire, and personal interviews are measures of emotional well-being, and they include statements such as how happy or satisfied have you been at different stages in your life. And participants would rate this, and then would compare the scores between the participants in the experimental group and the participants in the control group. Scales of psychological well-being, total positive self-concept score, and physical self-concept subscale are measures of psychological well-being, and they include questions such as, when I look at the story of my life, I am pleased with how things have worked out. The scales of social well-being include questions such as, I have something valuable to give to the world. And finally, the question scales of general behavior inventory is used to determine whether participants are healthy in terms of depression, to see if they are good candidates. For the requirements of the participants, they must be at least 18 years old, but no older than 40 years old. They must have healthy medical records, so no history of obesity or cholesterol problems. They must have healthy and no symptoms of depression. To recruit them, we could hang flyers around town, advertisements on Craigslist, and we must have 100 participants, 50 for the experimental group and 50 for the control group. Ideally, we would have 50% females and 50% males. The exercise intervention is for 12 weeks, and the experimental group would be at the laboratory for 3 days, and they would complete an hour of aerobic exercise on the bicycle ergometer, while the control group also shows up to the laboratory, but they would write a journal on their daily activities. On the 4th day, both groups would show up to the lab and complete measures of psychological and physiological measures. For this study, we used a maximal heart rate of 75%, and this means that on the first day, we would take a test to see what is the highest heart rate that they could reach, and we would take 75% of that, and that is the heart rate that they would maintain throughout their exercise. For the procedure, first we would recruit participants and make sure that they satisfy the conditions. We would randomly assign participants to the groups. They would take the bicycle ergometer test, They would schedule the days that they will be visiting the lab, and graduate students would be present while people are exercising in the laboratory to make sure that they are maintaining the correct heart rate. And then we would complete psychological and physiological measures, such as heart rate and body mass index. And the way that that is calculated is we take a person's weight and we divide that by the height squared. And a normal body mass index would be of 18.5 to 24.9. And then finally, participants would get paid $30 per week and receive a $40 bonus after the experiment is completed. And finally, we debrief the participants. The hypothesis predicts that an increase in exercise will improve the 3 areas of well-being, and we would use a t-test to analyze whether statistically significant differences exist between groups on individual measures of well-being, and due to time restrictions, we were not able to conduct this experiment. The purpose of this experiment was to test whether exercise promotes well-being in healthy populations by dividing well-being into 3 sections. This study has limitations. One of the limitations are that it doesn't consider whether stretching before or after exercise promotes or hinders well-being. It doesn't consider youth and seniors, so anyone below 18 years old and over 40 years old. It doesn't consider different combinations of exercise, such as balance, flexibility, strength, and things like that. So this right here is another type of aerobic exercise that was also not considered, so it would be good for future research. The importance of this study is just so that everyone is happy and we improve our communities and societies. Here are my references. I would like to acknowledge the National Science Foundation and SRAP and Summer Research Apprentice Program, University of Wyoming, my mentor, Benjamin Wilkowski, and the graduate students that helped me throughout the project, Elizabeth, Ferguson, and Sarah Crow. Any questions? Yes?
So for the experiment, they used the bike, as the exercise part. Do you think doing different exercises could have possibly a different effect on the experiment?
Yes, possibly, because the bicycle, although it strengthens the heart and the lungs and the blood system, it's mostly like just a bicycle. It's movement in the legs, but there are other types of aerobic exercise that include like all types of movement, including arms and legs and stuff. Any other questions? Me too.